Good morning and good afternoon. It is my pleasure to have with us Richard Thaler, who is the Charles Walgreen Distinguished Professor of Behavioral Science and Economics at the University of Chicago, a Nobel Prize winner in 2017, a senior advisor to PIMCO, and I must add, a close personal friend.
Good to see you, Manny.
So I'm going to start with a very simple example. You and I have talked quite a bit about it. We call it the Roman wheel theorem. And a lot of our financial advisors may relate to this. You find in your cellar a bottle of wine that you bought 10 years ago for $20. And just to pick a number, it's worth $200 today. And the question is, are you drinking a $20 bottle of wine, or are you drinking a $200 bottle of wine? Does the acquisition price matter? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, this is one of the first examples that caught my mind, even before you saw me at that conference. I had a professor when I was in graduate school at the University of Chicago, at the University of Rochester, Richard Rosette, who later went on to be the dean at Chicago Business School. And he had bottles like that. And he would say, he would drink bottles like that occasionally, but he would never buy them, never buy a wine that expensive. And I asked him about this, and he couldn't really justify it. But of course, economic theory says that the price of the wine is the opportunity cost. And if you can sell the wine for $200, then that's what it costs you to drink it. So this is a good example of what we call mental accounting. It's the way people are keeping track of financial transactions and everything they do in life. And it violates all kinds of axioms of economic rationality, especially fungibility. Fungible is the word we use to say that money shouldn't have labels on it. But of course, it does in people's heads. So people put money aside for college education or for retirement or to buy a house or to go on a vacation. And they act like you can't spend money from one pot on something else. And that may or may not be sensible, but people do it.
Can we talk about sludge? So you and I have talked about sludge quite a bit, and it's a wonderful word, because I like the word sludge, but B, you have a wonderful example about a tax return, something that everyone who's going to watch this video is quite familiar with.
Yeah, so what is sludge? 12 years ago, I wrote a book called Nudge, and whenever anybody asks me to sign it, I always sign it, Nudge for Good. But I'm aware that people don't always nudge for good. A public policy example is the following. My colleague here, Austin Goolsbee, proposed back in 2006, I think, the automatic tax return. And what it means is anybody who takes the standard deduction, the IRS knows everything they need to know to complete your return. Your W-2 forms are in, your 1099s, the interest, if they're earning any interest. So what they could do is send everybody a pre-populated tax return that they could file by text message. That's the way people file their tax returns in Sweden. We think of Sweden as some big bureaucracy. It's actually much more efficient on this front than the US. So there was a bill proposed early in the Obama administration to introduce this. It was defeated because of lobbying from the tax return industry that actually got a law passed saying the IRS is forbidden from doing this. And in return, the tax return companies promised to give free returns, although, as you can imagine, if you go in there and ask for a free return, they're likely to try to sell you something else. Now, the interesting thing is that now, thanks to the recent Trump tax cuts that increased the standard deduction, I think 89% of taxpayers are claiming the standard deduction. So we could end doing tax returns for almost 90% of the population simply by sending out this form. I mean, it could be a one-page bill in Congress. I don't see any reason why Democrats or Republicans would oppose this. It would make a lot of people who don't do tax returns for a living happy. And that can't be the most interesting job in the world. So I think we can probably find something more interesting for them to do as well.
Thank you, Richard. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I look forward to be able to get together soon and be able to share a bottle of wine. Thank you again.
Me as well. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Manny. My best to everybody in Newport Beach.
Thank you.